Hi there, my name is Cynthia, and for this assignment, we were asked to find a current environmental or health problem occurring in Puerto Rico and to propose an alternative solution to the ones being used today. Mosquito-borne illnesses are a constant problem Puerto Ricans face, especially during the summer. Currently, it is the Zika virus making the headlines, so in order to reduce the occurrence, mosquito control methods will need improvement. The Aedes aegypti mosquito is a common culprit of the transmission of many problematic viruses that can have serious health consequences for citizens. Since current mosquito eradication efforts have not been very effective, such as public health advocacy and the use of insecticides, it is a good topic to research and discuss innovative solutions. So, the purpose of this project in particular is to discuss how genetically modified mosquitoes can fix this problem. We will discuss this in more detail later, but the particular mosquito GMO I will be discussing is created by a company called Oxitec. And what they do is interfere with the Aedes aegypti mosquito reproduction, causing the offspring to die. Therefore, the objective is to reduce the mosquito population and consequently reduce the spread of diseases. Every species of mosquito is a little different, but to get an overall idea, the first thing we need to know is that the females are the only ones that bite, since males lack the physical parts to do so. The females then use the nutrients from the blood they drink to help their eggs develop. This way, they serve as vectors or carriers for many diseases. They get infected biting an infected host, which could be human or animal, and then they transmit the virus the next time they bite. They later lay their eggs in stagnant water and can lay around 300 eggs at a time in very little amount of water. We will focus on the Aedes aegypti mosquito because Oxitec's mosquito GMO has only been developed for this species. As you can see from the photo, this type of mosquito is dark in color and has white markings on its body and legs. These mosquitoes do not travel very far during their lifetime, perhaps 400 meters more or less, and can live up to 3 weeks. Since they are commonly found in tropical and subtropical areas, they are extremely common in Puerto Rico. These mosquitoes are common carriers for viruses like dengue, chikungunya, Zika, and yellow fever. So, dengue fever is a disease caused by any one of 4 closely related dengue viruses. The infection causes an illness similar to the flu, with symptoms like high fever, headache, pain behind the eyes, joint pain, muscle and bone pain, rash, and sometimes mouth bleeding like nose or gums, and easy bruising. Typically, the older you are, the worse the symptoms get, and the symptoms could also be worse the second, third, and fourth time you get it. There is no specific medication for this. What's recommended is pain relievers, avoiding those containing aspirin, of course, as they can worsen the illness. Also, rest, drink plenty of fluids, and to consult a physician to monitor your platelet levels. Dengue hemorrhagic fever, or DHF, on the other hand, is a more severe form of the dengue infection. It may require hospitalization. It could actually be fatal if unrecognized and not properly treated on time. However, with good medical management, the probability of actually dying from DHF could be less than 1% according to the CDC. The chikungunya virus will cause symptoms like fever and joint pain. Other symptoms developed could be headache, muscle pain, joint swelling, or rash. It does not often result in death, but the symptoms can actually be quite disabling. Most people feel better within a week, but in some cases, the joint pain could last months. More severe cases of chikungunya include newborns, adults older than 65 years of age, and people with medical conditions such as high blood pressure and diabetes. Once a person has been infected, he or she will likely be protected from future infections. The Zika virus is relatively new to the Western Hemisphere, therefore, a lot of research is lacking, and there is a lot the science community does not know about yet. So, after a mosquito bites, Zika can be further transmitted through sex, and it can also be transmitted from a pregnant mother to her fetus. It is also likely, but not yet confirmed, that it could be spread by blood transfusions. There is no vaccine for this virus, and many people infected with it won't have any symptoms at all, or will only have mild symptoms such as fever, rash, joint pain, and pink eye. And in some cases, people do develop muscle pain and headache. Symptoms can last a few days to a week. People usually don't get sick enough to go to the hospital, and they very rarely die from it. Once a person has been infected with the virus, they are likely to be protected from future infections. So you may be wondering what's all the commotion lately on Zika. Although there is still much research to be done, the virus seems to have some sort of link with neurological impairments. According to the CDC and the World Health Organization, contracting the Zika infection during pregnancy could cause a birth defect of the brain called microcephaly and other severe fetal brain defects. Some problems detected on fetuses and infants that were infected with Zika virus before their birth include vision and hearing deficits and impaired growth. There have also been increased reports on Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is an unusual sickness of the nervous system, and it can happen to people of all ages. This map shows the distribution of this mosquito around the globe. As you can see clearly, and as mentioned earlier, the mosquito lives in tropical and subtropical regions. The blue areas are regions where it doesn't live, and as the probability of the mosquito living there gets higher, the color shifts from light yellow to red. Current mosquito prevention methods in Puerto Rico include the following. First, we have public health efforts. Public health awareness exists to educate people and to promote community responsibility. Here in this slide, we have an infographic released by the CDC on how to prevent mosquito bites using mosquito repellents, clothes that leave little skin exposed, and mosquito proofing their home. Some people get bitten even though they are extra careful. The best way to prevent mosquito bites is to keep them from reproducing. So getting rid of standing water where they are born is the ideal solution. Many people do not realize that they have standing water in their property. Other methods to get rid of mosquitoes include home and mass fumigations. People can purchase insecticides to spread around their properties. Municipalities also do so around neighborhoods. The bad part about this method is that these poisons can be harmful for other insects besides the mosquito, including bees, which are important for our environment. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are usually created with the intention to help us. The idea and development of mosquito GMOs is fairly new, and it presents a new way to stop these pests. Oxitec is a company that specializes in creating new environmentally friendly ways using science to eliminate unwanted insects. Their mosquito GMOs ruin the mosquito's capability to successfully reproduce. To understand how they work, we have to understand first how mosquitoes regularly reproduce. Here we have an infographic with 3 reproduction cycles. The first one explains how mosquitoes reproduce in the wild. Here, the male and female mate. The female lays the eggs in standing water. These turn into larvae, then pupate, and then finally the mosquito is born and the cycle begins again. The second reproduction cycle on this infographic explains what happens using Oxitec's mosquitoes. These mosquito offspring never reach adulthood. Male-released GMO mosquitoes mate with wild female mosquitoes. After the female lays its eggs, the offspring die in their larvae stage. Since they never turn into mosquitoes, this will ultimately reduce mosquito populations. So you may be wondering how they make them in the lab if they die on the first stage. The third cycle shows how they do so. They basically put the larvae into a solution to induce further development and produce more. So this image was released by Oxitec to further simplify the process and to get the message across. First you have the GMO mosquito, then you mate it with a regular mosquito, and then third you have a bunch of dead mosquito offspring that are no longer able to reproduce and transmit disease. This table compares the pros and cons to this prevention alternative. First, let's look at the pros. Oxitec focuses on making male mosquitoes, which are unable to bite us because they don't have the body parts to do it. Also, only the Aedes aegypti species will be targeted. Therefore, organisms that feed on these mosquitoes, like bats for example, can eat other insects or other species of mosquitoes, so they won't go hungry. Another point is that it is an environmentally friendly option because it does not harm other insects. It only focuses on one species of mosquitoes, unlike pesticides which do not discriminate. Also, production and transportation is cost effective. You could have hundreds of these mosquitoes contained in very little space. Last, field testings in Brazil, Panama, and the Cayman Islands have shown positive results. Now let's look at the cons. Although they focus on making male mosquitoes, they cannot fully guarantee that 100% will be male. It was said in an interview by one of Oxitec's representatives that 1 in 10,000 could be female. One of the most important cons to this is that there is still much research to be done in order to get FDA approval and to consequently perfect the method in order to avoid any unforeseen circumstances. This summer, the FDA gave its approval for the trial, finding that it would be safe for both people and the environment. Oxitec is now looking at the Florida Keys as a point of interest. However, many opponent activists for the Florida trial have argued that they don't want the area to be used as a site of an experiment because they are afraid of the unknown circumstances. And of course, let's not forget that it is a private company, so they may overprice their product once approved. So in conclusion, even though there is still much research to be done, in the future, mosquito GMOs could greatly make a difference in our society's health. The positives for this method outweigh the negatives, and the same concept could be applied to other problematic species of mosquitoes. So, with more research and development, it could revolutionize the way we deal with these pests and could make way to other beneficial insect GMOs. So this is the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.